Eury Perez is officially on his way back to the majors, and Jack Flaherty threw a gem in his first start for the Orioles. Join us today where we provide you with the best must-add players from this weekend on today's action-packed episode of Locked On Fantasy Baseball.
You are Locked On Fantasy Baseball, your daily fantasy baseball podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, fantasy baseball fanatics, and welcome to the Locked On Fantasy Baseball podcast, brought to you by the Locked On Sports Network, your team every day. As always, we're your number one source of fantasy baseball knowledge, and thank you for making us your first listen and each and every day. I'm your host, Dominic Martino. You can find me on Twitter at DomMartinoFB. Here, as always, with my brother, my co-host, my partner in crime, Matthew Ane, and you could find him on Twitter at Matthew_Ane. If you're listening on a platform like Apple or Spotify that allows 5-star ratings and reviews, we would truly appreciate it if you could do that for us. And if you haven't already and you're watching on YouTube, hit that little bell below. It subscribes to the channel. Also drops you a notification every time we release a new episode. And lastly, but most importantly, join us on the Subtext website. Subtext, it's a one-on-one personalized in-depth texting experience where you get alerts from Matt and I regarding prospect call-ups, injury alerts, and this time of year you need all those kinds of things to help you get that edge over your competition. And guys, you know what? Let's get into things because we got a fully loaded episode for you today. And as always, let us be your team secret weapon where we provide you with the best must-add players from this weekend. And Matt, one of your boys, he's on his way back. Let's talk about it.
Yes, sir. So, Mr. Eury Perez, if you were on the Diamond Clubs, you got that alert this morning from us. Eury Perez is absolutely a must-add at this point. 55% owned, so he's out there in about 45% of leagues. So you need to go out there and go scoop him up because, quite honestly, you're going to be really upset if you don't. I think he's going to have a monstrous second half, pick up right where he left off. He had a couple innings in the minors to get him kind of ramped back up because they pretty much just sat him to keep him on that innings limit. So I think right from here on out, he's pretty much a green light until the end of the season, unless Miami starts taking a dip. So here's the other half, right? I love Eury Perez. If you're already an owner and you've held on to him, you might want to let him roll out, have a really great start, and then go trade him before the trade deadline. He's starting tomorrow, so this is perfect. Our trade deadlines are usually August 10th, which is in 4 days, 3 days from when you guys are listening. So about Wednesday. So, quite honestly, you could probably get a lot for Eury Perez right now. So if you pick him up, he has a great start. You could probably turn around and ship him off for a whole bunch. And in leagues where they're keepers, where you could probably, and you're in a position to win now, he's a great long-term solution. So I would flip Eury Perez at this moment. Right after tomorrow's start. Eury Perez is an absolute monster. And if Miami decides to fall off a cliff, like I said, great sell high target. So your choice on Eury Perez.
Yeah, Matt, I'm on board with you. Eury Perez was available in a couple of my leagues this morning. So when I saw that, I gave him a little scoop. He's the big 6'8", 220-pound righty. The kid is still only 20 years old. Absolutely love Eury Perez. He was dominating this year through 11 starts, 2.36 ERA, 53 innings, 61 strikeouts, and a 108 whip. As Matt pointed out, on the negative side, Eury is already over his career high in innings. He's at about 90 innings pitched so far this year. His career high is 78. So maybe he's got another 30, maybe 40 innings left in the tank there. So I'm on board with Matt. If he goes out there against Cincinnati, as you guys are listening today, has a good game, I'd be looking to move him before the trade deadline. If you could scoop up even somebody, let's say Eury Perez is like your 30th ranked starting pitcher, 35th ranked starting pitcher. If you can get somebody in that range, I'll take him. He also gets the Yankees, it looks like over the weekend. So that's going to be another pretty solid matchup for Eury Perez. I mean, if you can't trade him for around his value, then, hold on to him and just ride the wave. I mean, Spencer Strider, pitched a lot more innings than we thought he was going to last year, even though he did, get a little bit tired towards the end of the year and tampered down. But Eury Perez, as I mentioned, 6'8", 20-year-old, throws 100 miles an hour, sits around 98. The breaking stuff is pretty good. Eury Perez has a great future ahead of him. So let's move on here and let's talk about the other guy we mentioned at the top of the episode, and it's little Jack Flaherty. I mean, it is like I call him Little Jack, and little is he back in the circle of trust? Is he not back in the circle of trust? Did Baltimore figure something out with him?
Listen, fucker.
Yeah, exactly. Matt caught my vibe there. Against Toronto in his first start with Baltimore, he went 6 innings, got the win, 8 strikeouts, gave up a run with a clean 1 whip. I mean, you got to go out there and get Jack Flaherty right now. He currently is 55% owned, same as Eury Perez. I think there's a lot. I think there's a lot of upside there. We all have seen the Ace Jack Flaherty before. His next 2 starts actually are kind of a test here. He gets Houston on the 9th, and then he gets San Diego on the 14th. San Diego's been a little bit better of late, and Houston's got a pretty solid team there as well. So let's see how Jack Flaherty does against those two. If he could hold his own, then he's definitely back on track. But this is a kind of a preemptive add Jack Flaherty now, because if he goes out there against Houston and San Diego and he has some big games, you definitely are going to miss out on him, because once again, as soon as he throws that good game against either one of those teams, I think he comes off the board in almost every single league.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, Jack has some great stuff. It is what it is. You had a really great take there, Dom. I don't really need to go in deep depth there. Let's just move on to Mr. Ashcraft. My guy has been resurgent since the call back up. I like it. The only thing I got a problem with is he really hasn't had too many big K games, 5, 2, 8, 3, 2, 2, 7, 2, 1. I feel like I just dialed the phone number, but but he's had a lot of good ERA games. So and a couple of wins there as well. He's only had one bad start out of 2 bad starts out of 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 of his starts since he's been back, and those are his first 2 starts. So since then, out of the 9, his last 7 were stellar. So hey, good job, Ashcraft. You figured something out along the lines when you were down in the minors, trying to get stuff back working and whatnot. I'm gonna say where I'm at with Ashcraft is, long story short, he's definitely worth an ad for now. And what I will say is, you should consider adding him. He's going up against Miami. Miami has been hit or miss in terms of who they're playing and things like that, and whether they're going to be hot or not. So it may be more of a riskier play, and it's at home. So that kind of gives me a little hesitance. But at the same time, if Ashcraft is able to handle himself against the Dodgers, Milwaukee, San Diego, and I mean, it kind of makes me feel like he can maybe be able to handle himself against the Miami Marlins in the Great American Hitter Park. Sorry for my voice. Yeah.
Yeah, before I chime in here and give my take on old Graham Ashcraft, and then we got, a couple more pitchers, a guy who just got called up to the leagues from Tampa Bay, and then one of our good old former New York Yankees. I just need to talk to you about one of our new ad partners, and that is Dave. At one time or another, we all need a little financial help. That's why Dave is great. Dave can get you cash when you need a hand between paychecks and can help you build credit by settling extra cash TM advances on time. Dave can make managing your money so much easier with an interest-free extra cash TM advance, fee-free goal tracking, and easy ways to find a side hustle to make more money. When you download Dave, you can get up to $500 in 5 minutes or less. No credit check, no late fees. Advance the money you need with no interest and then settle up later. Extra Cash TM gives you more money to buy groceries, fill your tank, finally get your car repaired, or catch up on bills without having to wait till your next paycheck. You can even build credit when you settle up on time. Millions of people have already downloaded the Dave app to make their finances easier. Download Dave today at dave.com/MLB. That's dave.com/MLB. For terms and conditions, go to dave.com/legal. Eligibility, criteria, and instant transfer fees apply. Banking services provided by Evolve, member FDIC. And dear everydayers and new listeners, we have an incredible opportunity for you to support the show and enjoy some fantastic perks along the way, introducing the Diamond Club on the Subtext website. By becoming a member, you not only contribute to the show's success, but also gain access to exclusive benefits. Get your hands on waiver wire rankings, call-up alerts, injury updates, instant reactions, and enjoy direct access to us for all of your burning fantasy baseball questions. Plus, you can try it out completely free for 14 days. Your support means the world to Matt and I, and we can't wait to connect with you on this exciting journey. Join our Diamond Club on the Subtext website today, and let's take your fantasy baseball experience to new heights. And guys, as we've been throwing out there, our listener league entry, ends September 1st. So meaning if you sign up for Subtext, or if you've already signed up for Subtext from now to September 1st, we're going to give you a chance to enter, our listener league for next year. And I keep saying, hey, come show Matt and I what you could do against us. Come show us up, make us look like fools if you can. And you know what, man? It's just a fantastic experience on Subtext overall. I know all of our, Diamond Club members are loving it so far. We're loving interacting with you guys. But real quick, let me jump back in here and let's talk about Graham Ashcraft. Now, he's been pretty good of late. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 starts in a row where he's looked very, very good. He started off the year super hot, and then he had a run where he was really bad. I know the numbers on the year look really bad, but he throws really hard. He sits around 96. The fastball gets up even higher than that. Breaking stuff really isn't, what he's known for. He's a big 6'2", 250-pound guy. I like him for now. I think I just want to see where this thing goes with him. He's not like one of the better pitchers in the league. If my rankings, I probably would have him somewhere like around maybe like 60, low, very, very high 50s. Who does he get next week? I believe Matt mentioned it. He gets Miami, and after that, he looks like he probably gets Cleveland. So, those are two pretty good matchups for Ashcraft. It's kind of just a ride the wave situation with him. He's currently 38% rostered on Yahoo. So pick up Ashcraft and, just ride the wave with him. He's no Eury Perez or Jack Flaherty, but you know what? He's not a bad secondary option if you weren't able to scoop up either one of those guys. Matt, why don't you grab this next guy? A lot of talking there for me.
All right, no doubt. Let's talk about Mr. Wade Miley. Been serviceable since he's been back from the injury. Like Miley, Dom and I have always touted him whenever he was been available or been talking about him. He's been killing it so far over the last month. Not even, it's really just more like 2 starts. 10 innings. They got 1 win, 13 Ks, and a 0.9 whip with a 1.20. 0.9 ERA with a 1.20 whip. Those numbers are great. K per 9 is there. I'm not really used to seeing him with that. He's not really like a K per 9 guy. But, I like Wade Miley as a whole. He's a solid pitcher going up against Colorado at home, not at Coors. So that's another bonus going into next week. So I think Wade Miley is a solid start. So I'm definitely seeing what's going on there, and I'm probably going to add him if I need the spot start next week. That start is coming on the 8th, which is in 2 days, so Tuesday.
Yeah, Matt, great take on Miley. I don't have too much to add besides, it's like the last 3. Well, I wouldn't even go as far as this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Out of the last 6 years, 5 of those years have been pretty good, actually, to be honest with you. Numbers on the year look pretty solid, as Matt said. I really don't have too much else to add. Let's just throw that ownership percentage out there. 38% owned on Yahoo for Wade Miley. So ride the wave with Wade Miley too. I don't know if he's going to be able to contribute all the way through the rest of the year. I take Wade Miley over Ashcraft, not over Eury Perez or Jack Flaherty. Let's move on to our last starting pitcher before we get into bats. And this is a guy, if you haven't been paying attention, he kind of been slipping under the radar so far, and that's Kutter Crawford, starting pitcher for the Boston Red Sox. Another big boy, a lot of big pitchers on today's episode. 6'1", 195-pound righty Kutter Crawford. Finally showing up at 27 years old. He had a little bit of pedigree as a prospect, nothing crazy. But you know what? I've heard the name before. And then, this year through 21 games, 13 starts, 3.62 ERA, 82 innings, 81 strikeouts, 108 whip. The FIP is a little high at a 3.96, but that's only like 0.30, over where his ERA is. But, if you can get a guy off the waiver wire at this time of year, that's, even going to contribute a little bit in some of these deeper leagues, I'll take it. Crawford, only 27% owned at the moment. We got to get that up to about like 40, 45%. He gets those lowly Kansas City Royals on August 8th. I think Kutter Crawford is a guy that you kind of just, add him on your team and see where the thing goes. One thing that we always say with pitching and ditching, you don't really care too much if he's going to blow up your ERA and your whip. But you know what? If he's a guy that you pick up and you just try to ride the wave with, you never know. He might end up on your team for the rest of the way push to the championship.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I mean, Crawford is definitely stellar. The only thing I'm going to say is, you said he's going up against Kansas City in his next start. They did hit around the Phillies today too, and Bobby Witt has been hot, so it's not like it's like an easy matchup anymore unless they start cooling off from now. So I didn't hear it, and this is just on me. I apologize. I was lining up the next one. When does that start? Is it later in the week or is it like Monday, Tuesday?
I'm not. let me go back. I had it there for a second, and then I moved on. He gets them on August 8th. What's today?
Tuesday.
Yeah, so Tuesday. So wait, hold on. That might even be a 2-start week for Kutter Crawford. Let's see who that second opponent is while we're still on the topic of Kutter Crawford.
Yeah.
That's second opponent, Detroit. You know what? I like that. Yeah. So you know what? Grab yourself Kutter Crawford and see what happens with these 2 starts. Worst case scenario is you throw him out there. He gets you some strikeouts. He eats a couple of innings. I honestly think you really can't go wrong with Kutter Crawford for this week with those 2 starts.
The only thing I'm going to say is, with MJ Melendez heating up, he has 2 weeks out of the whole year where he is just hot. Like, I love MJ. I'm a big fan, but MJ just has been, horrendous, and he's been pooping his big boy pants all year. So he gets these weeks where he's really streaky. So, like, I may sit Kutter against him, especially with him and Witt hot in the lineup. But that second matchup, if you're in a daily league or like every 3 days, I'd roll him out for that second one against Detroit. I probably wouldn't roll him up against Kansas City right now.
I hear you. The Royals are 7-3 in their last 10. I get that, but on the year they've been really bad against right-handed pitchers specifically. So I'll throw him out there. And I'll see what happens. I'll take the risk. And you know what? If he can get past the a very hot Bobby Witt and a lukewarm MJ Melendez, then I think he's all right. There's not much else in that lineup. But against old man Salvador Perez having a down year, not really much else to be worried about.
I hear you. I don't know if you've heard this going around Twitter now, but, a fan decided to call me the pitcher whisperer. So, I mean.
Oh, okay. There you go.
Yeah. So, I mean, if you want to take the pitcher whispers, advice, I'd probably sit him because I have a feeling it's going to get lit up. But anyway, I had to throw that dig in because I love that nickname. Thank you, Martin.
I like that. That's a good one.
I love it, Martin. Thank you, bud. All right, let's move on. Let's talk about Mr. Curtis Mead before we get into our next ad break. Mr. Mead has got the call up recently. Tampa Bay Rays, second and third base. Only had his first at bat, went 1 for 4, 250. Mead has had like an interesting year this year, right? So like 191 at bats, 25 runs, 17 doubles, 2 triples, three home runs, 32 ribs, 3 stolen bases, 28 to 32 strikeouts. Love that number with batting 283 in AAA. 2022, he had a career high of 13 bombs. Year before that, 15 bombs. This is all in 282 at bats last year and 411. So I think he was progressing to get a little bit more power in 2022 because he only had about 282 at bats. So I don't know exactly how to examine Mead in terms of what his big league outcome could be, who he could be as a player. Right now, I'm adding him as a speculative ad. Third base is obviously a little rough, and if you can get Mead for free right now, I mean, you might as well scoop him up, see what he can do, see how he's translating into bigs, and kind of take a speculative head start because he's not going to kill you. I think he has great plate discipline, so he's not going to destroy your batting average. If the power does start to connect, boom, but he does make contact with the ball. He does get on base, and Tampa Bay does need a little surgeon, so Mead can be that spark. So add him, see what happens.
Yeah, and before I hop into Curtis Mead and I talk about, I got to give it away. The Big Geef, that's one of my boys. I mean, like I said, we got a former Yankee on there and then a couple of guys you may or may not have heard of. We're going to give you a little ad break. And all right, guys, we're back. Thanks for bearing with us through that little break here. But, Matt, great take on Mead. Just going to throw out there, he's got a little bit of power, a little bit of speed. He's only 171 pounds at 6 feet tall. If he can get up to 185-ish, put a little bit more muscle on that frame, the power could really play up. Always been a very good batting average in the minors. Curtis Mead, he's always hit, over 280, which is very, very good. But we've seen a lot of guys come up to the bigs and struggle over the last few years. So you know what? With Curtis Mead being 5% owned, if you're in a shallower league, throw him on your watch list, see where the thing goes. If you're in a deeper league and you really, really need a second or third baseman, you could pick up Curtis Mead and see where this thing goes. He's been hitting near the bottom of the lineup, but you know what? That just means more runs for him. So with Curtis Mead, I'm kind of waiting and seeing. In those shallower leagues, I'm picking him up in those deeper leagues if I need the position, But let's keep things pushing here. Oh, Matt, chime in, brother.
So sorry guys. That break is a little premature. Sorry, Dom messed up and forgot the script. So getting to know yourself can be a lifelong process, especially because we're always getting to know and changing. Therapy is all about deepening your self-awareness and understanding, because sometimes we don't know what we want or why we react certain ways until we talk things through. BetterHelp connects you with a licensed therapist who can take you on a journey of self-discovery from wherever you are. If you're thinking of starting therapy, give BetterHelp a try. It's entirely online, designed to be convenient, flexible, and suitable for your schedule. Just fill out a brief survey and get matched with a licensed therapist, and switch therapists if you're really not getting along for no additional charges. Discover your potential with BetterHelp and visit BetterHelp.com/LockedOnMLB today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp.com/LockedOnMLB to get started today and take mental health seriously if you're going through some stuff. I go through it all the time. I am a family man. I got a wife. I love her, but she does drive me crazy. I got a 2-year-old and another one on the way. So, life gets stressful. You sometimes need to talk to somebody. And if you have crazy parents, it's even easier. So, get in touch with BetterHelp. They really do a great job. I am a user of BetterHelp. So, all right. And sorry, Dom got a little premature with it.
Yeah, that's my bad, folks. My bad.
It's okay. Dom usually goes quick anyway. So, sorry for his girlfriend. Anyway, Dom, go ahead. Take this next guy.
Yeah, let me hop back in here and talk about one of my boys, the big geef, Luis Rengifo. And, he's always kind of like a hot and cold type of player. But you know what? He's been hot lately. He does have power. He does have speed. He's been batting leadoff for the Angels. I know the Angels aren't very good, but you know what? When you're batting at the top of the lineup where Shohei Ohtani bats behind you and the guy's leading the league in home runs, you're going to get driven in a good amount. And I'll read you off the Big Geef's stats for the last 2 weeks. 10 runs, 4 homers, 7 RBIs, hasn't stolen a base, but a 302 batting average as well. Luis Rengifo is eligible at second, third, short, and outfield on Yahoo. So I think he's a very, very strong pickup. Honestly, I love the kid. I think he's very talented. As I mentioned, power and speed. Not much really else to say here on Rengifo besides he's 36% owned on Yahoo, and I think he's definitely one of my favorite bats that we're talking about today as far as pickups go.
Yeah, I like the Geef. I like the nickname even more because we get geefy with it. You know what I'm saying? So, it is what it is. It's funny. I'm looking up our next guy here, and I actually typed in Gary Sanchez, like, sandwich. But instead, I'm just going to go with it. It's Gary Sanchez here. Gary has been having a nice week. The last week, he has 5 runs, 4 bombs, 6 ribs, and batting 300. And that's not even including today, August 6th. So make that 6 runs, 5 home runs, 7 ribs, and he's batting 500 so far through this game. So I'm sure it's going to be more like 320. So Gary Sanchez going off on a tear right now. Loving it. Last 2 weeks has been solid. So, right now he's an ad. I wouldn't say a must add, but he's more of like a stream at the position. See what happens. Kind of roll with it. Gary Sanchez, we've talked about a whole bunch throughout the season. Whenever he's hot, I'm always willing to roll him out, but he's not a long-term solution. He's a week-by-week hot hand type deal.
Honestly, Gary Sanchez, he's not really ever going to help you in batting average. So if you're looking for batting average help from your catcher, throw that out the window. But since he's gone over to San Diego, new breath of life, 52 games, he's got 27 runs, he's got 14 homers, 35 RBIs. Batting average is down to 218, but I already mentioned that. Honestly, he's like a top 15 catcher rest of the way as far as I'm concerned. He's 22% owned, so you know what? That's probably almost all the 2-catcher leagues out there. There's not a lot of those. But you know what? If you've had problems at catcher, if you lost Jonah Heim, honestly, he's not really a bad at catcher at all. You know you're gonna get that power. You know you're gonna get some RBIs. Runs, maybe not. But you know what? Could definitely help you in the power and run production department. Let's move on to now our last couple of guys here you may or may not have ever heard of. The first one is Matt Wallner. Matt Wallner, that outfielder for the Minnesota Twins. He's been on some kind of tear of late. His numbers on the seasons are very good. 78 at-bats, 15 runs, 6 homers, 14 RBIs. He's chipped in a steal, 269 batting average. And you know what? He's been pretty good of late. August 5th, 3 for 5, 2 runs, 2 RBIs. Went 1 for 4 today with a homer. Hit a homer on August 2nd. Hit a homer on July 30th. So nice little tear for the young kid. Pretty solid minor league career for Wallner. Just somebody, I'm to be honest with you, I'm not super familiar with the kid. Name isn't really a buzzy name, but he's 6'4", 220 pounds, lefty. Minnesota needed somebody like this to come in their lineup and kind of give him a little jolt. He's still only 25 years old. Pretty solid minor league career. In 2022, 24-year-old Wallner, 90 runs, 32 doubles, 4 triples, 27 homers, 95 RBIs, 9 steals, and he had 277. So the upside is there. He had 291 through 67 games in the minors this year. So I kind of just say pick him up, see where the thing goes. I'm not super familiar with the kid, but he's a big baseball boy hitting home runs. When you see those guys come around, you know what? It's at least worth the shot in those deeper leagues to pick him up and just ride the wave.
Yeah, absolutely. Great take, Dom. I got really nothing to add on him since I'm not too familiar with him either. Let's move on to this last guy who I also am not really familiar with, but he's popping recently, so I kind of want to talk. We kind of need to talk about him. And let me get the fantasy baseball on how to say that. So Maikel Garcia. Thank you. From Venezuela, 6 foot, 180 pounds. So he's a skinny dude. I like what he's been doing over the last week. No home runs, 4 runs, no bombs, 5 ribs, 3 stolen bases, batting 375. So automatically, if you're been a listener to the show, and if you're new, let me just explain my rule. Batting average off the waiver wire is a must add for me. And he's also doing it in 4 other categories. So 3 other, I apologize. So I think Maikel has to be added at this point. Stolen bases obviously is always key. It's hard to find. So add him. Batting average is fantastic right now. And he's getting brought in. Kansas City is rolling. I'm going to take that whole ride the wave thing with the whole team at this point. MJ Melendez, somebody that if he's going to keep this going, he's probably going to be on the Thursday show or Friday show, whatever it is. So you're going to keep seeing guys on Kansas City as long as they stay hot going. So right now, Garcia is somebody I am adding and see how long this lasts.
Yeah, Maikel Garcia, man. I believe we talked about him one other time, throughout the year on these kinds of, must-add episodes. And he's just really kind of kept it rolling throughout, man. I love the numbers on the year with the 17 steals, 35 runs. He's been batting leadoff very consistently over there for Kansas City. As Matt mentioned, they're getting hot right now. Third base and shortstop for Maikel Garcia. Matt mentioned the rule about the batting average off the waiver wire. Kid's hitting 281 on the year. You know what? And he had some big steals in the minors in 2022. He stole 39 bases in 118 games. In 2021, Maikel Garcia stole 35 bases through 104 games. So a guy that's batting leadoff, stealing bases, being driven in, giving you batting average. Honestly, one of the better players on today's waiver wire episode. But Matt, anything else to chip in before we head out?
Other than, hey, check out our subtext, become a Diamond Club member. And it's not me trying to drive it home. Sign up for the 14 days. See how you like it. Truthfully, get your help. Ask us your questions that you need to move on. And then if you guys feel like moving on after the fact, it is what it is. But, at least we get to connect with our fan base and say, hey, get to know you a little bit. Because you know what? I really do enjoy talking. I learned one of our guys is a baker and a private cook. I learned that our other friend, Pistol Pete over there, is a pharmacist. So, I'm loving getting to know you guys. But at the same time, I want to help you out. So come hang out with us over on Subtext, and then, we'll see what we can do for you.
Yeah, guys, definitely, this is the time of year you don't want to tune out. I know fantasy football is coming up, and this is the time where you could take advantage of everybody by having a little bit of an upper hand. You get those alerts right to your phone. You don't even need to go too far for them. And you know what? Just a quick little shout out to Bird Dogs. Bird Dogs threw Matt and I some more gear. We're going to talk about it whenever next time we do read the Bird Dogs. I have a big shout out personally from me and Matt to Bird Dogs. Thank you guys. Appreciate the gear. And that's all for us for today. Please be sure to like, subscribe, comment, rate, and review. Also, thank you for making Locked On Fantasy Baseball your first listen each and every day. Our everydayers, new listeners, wouldn't be where we are without you guys. And make sure you lock on for a new episode tomorrow when we talk about the best players to stash on your watch list and IL. And I guarantee you there's some big names that are too lowly owned, and you don't want to miss that episode. But guys, until tomorrow. See you.
Peace.